In today's news, BVI Royalties to compete in international competitions.
Premier Fahie rotates junior ministers.
Honorable Sharie De Castro represents BVI at UK Flagship seminar.
BVICCHA and Premier team up to deliver a business forum.
Debt at a Caribbean resort turns into international incident.
And Guyana officials are advocating for local businesses to receive tax breaks. These and more stories when 284 News returns.
Is business slow? Cash flow down? Hosting an upcoming event? We can help. Advertise with 284 Media and take your business or event to the next level by enhancing your present marketing and messaging strategies. Allow our team of experts to create a personalized ad that sets your business apart from all the rest. This could be your business or event. So, what are you waiting for? Contact our marketing team at 284media at cctbvi.com. Advertising with us works.
When you need to stay connected with friends and families at home or abroad, the best choice for you is Freedom. CCT Freedom. With the lowest rates in the market, our Freedom plan gives you unlimited calls and texting. Plus, our Freedom One package includes 10 gigabits of super fast unlimited LTE data and unlimited calls to the BVI, USA, USVI, Canada, Puerto Rico, and UK lines. Why pay for overages when you can enjoy CCT Freedom? Stop by at one of our stores today and speak with one of our representatives to find out more about our CCT Freedom packages. A pleasant welcome to you guys. It is Tuesday, November 26, 2019. I'm Javon Wilson.
And I'm Kyla Kenesha Forbes.
Got lots of breaking news to get into today. The Premier did quite a switcheroo, as well as the BVICCHA teaming up with the Premier and his government, of course, to deliver to the private sector of the British Virgin Islands. So heading right into it, in what has been considered an unprecedented move, the Premier of the Virgin Islands, Honorable Fahie, has reassigned the junior ministers in the rotational fashion, effective yesterday, Monday, November 25th. Honorable Sharie Flax, who initially served as the Junior Minister for Tourism, has now been reassigned as the Junior Minister for Trade and Economic Development. As a result, Honorable Sharie De Castro is the new Minister of Tourism. The Premier said this, quote, iron sharpening strategy through rotation will thoroughly equip all elected members of government as they continue to build capacity in all areas of governance, which is evident in the stellar performance of each minister who performed in the role of Deputy Premier, albeit on a rotational basis. His statement reads, indeed, I continue to see the benefits and merit in capacity building among elected members. My objective as Premier is to always ensure that capacity is built by all those who I am working with to ensure that all persons are exposed to the necessary experience and the necessary experience of ministerial office so that they can be effective in any role at any moment's notice. This initiative is about capacity building in the government and preparing our junior ministers not only to excel in their performance in this term, but to serve in future terms of office at higher levels. It is always good to move away from what is familiar. As I am building capacity across the government, there is an opportunity to get tourism expertise at this time within the trade and economic agenda. Honorable Flax Charles comes with experience in tourism that will help to bolster our business development sector through the lens of tourism. The Premier's statement further said, we want to ensure that our business community is providing the right product offering as a destination and jurisdiction, or that they are creating businesses that can help to encourage and attract products and services that are of interest to visitors as well as our residents. And since we are diversifying our tourism products beyond sun, sea, and sand, the reassignment is important to allow us to expand that part of the sector with the reality, that visitors are and consumers of local products, goods, and services. Equally important, he said, Honorable Sharie De Castro will bring business development, integration, and innovation into the tourism industry. She can help to create a balance between the tourism sector and business sector from a trade and innovative perspective. So overall, the objective is to strengthen all areas of the economy and to ensure the business tourism, and trade and commerce drive a new green BVI where there is economic expansion and economic diversification, thereby leading to the creation of jobs, entrepreneurs, and a strong BVI. Now, Kyla, I know again this is unprecedented. The Premier from inception has been very unconventional and not shy about it.
Yes.
Ever since coming into power on February 25th, really chanting on adapting new measures as we're trying to grapple with new times and changing times, I should say. It definitely was extended to the ministers, the 5 main ministers, or I should say, yes, 5 main ministers, and as a result, they all had an opportunity to, taste what deputy premiership is all about. And then we see him doing the same here with the junior ministers.
My only question would be, this administration has only been in since February, and I don't think, I'm wondering if the ministers are getting a chance to really solidify themselves in those areas.
If it's enough time.
Right. I definitely understand the cross education between both. That's definitely important. But
is it enough time for them
to kind of solidify themselves in these different areas
and get a fair understanding of what's happening? That's a really great point, actually. I never thought about it that way. And there are some controversies around this story as well.
There's always controversy with something that's different.
Right. Initially, we heard that Honorable Sharie De Castro, there was an issue with the chairman of the BVI Port Authority.
Yes.
And basically in a meeting, I think what had happened was she kept mentioning the development of Virgin Gorda, and he was, I guess, upset about her overextending herself to the sister island, being that she is an elected at-large member that's supposed to be representing the territory. And of course, that was seen as an over-abuse of his power. And so that was I would say that ground issue. However, we're seeing here with the Premier, based on what he's saying in this statement, it has absolutely nothing to do with that.
Right.
He just wants them to be able to function in various capacities as members of
We'll
government.
just have to see how that goes and how that develops.
All right.
Definitely. Today, 2 BVI royalties departed on their journey to represent the territory on the international stage. Miss Bria Smith, Miss BVI, and Miss Sharie Turnbull, Mrs. BVI Globe, left the territory through the Terence B. Lettsome International Airport today. Miss Smith will be partaking in the Miss Universe pageant. Miss Universe 2019 will be the 68th edition of the Miss Universe competition. It will be held on December 8, 2019 at the Tyler Perry Studios in Atlanta, Georgia in the United States. Miss Turnbull heads to Xinjiang, China to compete in the Mrs. Globe competition, which is actually the most prestigious Mrs. competition to be held. The Mrs. Globe finals will be held on the 7th of December 2019. Javon, I think although the British Virgin Islands is relatively small compared to other countries that's competing, I think we put across a great representation going on the international stage.
I totally agree with you. The BVI has left a significant imprint. And with these ladies, this specific pool I'm really excited about. What you think about Chandra, Miss Turnbull, one of my favorite persons, simply because she's so well versed and capable in so many areas. So she's a great representation for Mrs.
I think we're
BVI.
seeing that all across the pool. Miss Smith, Mrs. Turnbull, and even Rakia Bratwick.
Absolutely. Rakia is very, she's a professional art student, and she's injecting that, of course, into her platform, which she wishes to see that transformation for the British Virgin Islands.
And we will be seeing that a bit more.
And then there's Bria Smith, who's so cultured and so focused on accomplishing whatever goal she puts forward. So collectively, I think all of them are really repping national pride and excellent in their respective areas. And plus, Miss Smith gets to see Tyler Perry Studios.
I know. I'm so excited. She better come back and tell us all about it. Yes, but like we mentioned, Miss Rakia Turnbull, who is currently in London, England, representing as our Miss World BVI. Here's a clip of Rakia being interviewed in a segment for the Miss World 2019 Head-to-Head Challenge. She speaks briefly about her Beauty with a Purpose project. Let's watch.
So as a performing arts kid, what is it? Because I'm also one. I'm a musical theater nerd. I love everything about it. What is it that made you want to study performing arts?
Well, as a kid, my mom and my uncle used to chaperone pageant queens. And from the age of 5, I would see them always work hardest on the talent segment, because it was the segment that carried the most weight and has the most points. And as a kid, I just see them working. And from then, I organically transformed to the stage, that love. And from then, they saw that I loved it, and they implemented me, or made me go into every art form. So they made me do piano, dance, ballet, and I just loved it so much. And they continue to help me and support me. And they sent me to art camps. I went to Interlochen, which is art,
That's
if you know
amazing.
it.
Yeah.
Interlochen for 3 years. I was a vocal major first, and then I was a musical theater major for the other 2 years. I went there for 3 years. And then I applied for the Yale Summer Acting Program, which was a 6-week program, acting intensive course, and I did that there. And then I still loved it. And then I continued, and I moved from the island, and I went to high school, boarding school for my 11th and 12th year, where we can do theater more competitively.
Oh, interesting.
So then I graduated there and still wanted to do it. So I then auditioned for several universities, and I decided to go to University of Miami, where I just graduated in May with my bachelor's in fine arts with a concentration in musical theater.
Oh, that's incredible. Well, congratulations again.
Thank you.
And I know that your love for performing arts has a little bit to do with your Beauty with a Purpose, right?
Yes.
Or a lot of it to do.
A lot.
Yeah.
So I just, as I said, that I had to leave the Virgin Islands several times for training to better my craft. And because we don't have an infrastructure in the Virgin Islands for the performing arts, at least if you want to make this a viable career. So for my Beauty with a Purpose, I've decided to create a scholarship fund where I will have raised $50,000 a year to send one student a year that wants to pursue this as a viable career. And I've named it the Julia Morley Fund, because I'm so grateful for her to giving all of us this platform to be an ambassador for our country, to give us an opportunity to shed light on something that we see fit or needed in our country. So I named it after her, so we can find the gems in the Virgin Islands that has the talent and don't have the funding to be sent that my parents were gratefully sent me. And it would kill me to see or know that there are a lot of people in the Virgin Islands that has talent and just die with it, because the arts mean so much to us. Yeah. Like, we were all singing before this.
Yeah, we were.
Like, we all listened to music to
before we started, we were all singing musical theater. It was lovely.
We sing to calm us down, and we watch movies for comfort. We go to shows to relate to characters. It's very important. The talent segment yesterday, we all participated in. I cried probably 7 times just to see everyone express themselves in that way. And it's just so important to not have that part of you die. And I think perception is reality. And at home, they don't see it, so they don't know. Yeah. So at least I can create it for them so they can see it, so they can know it's there, and they know it's okay to pursue this.
Yes. So, Joe, we see a bit about Rickia's Beauty with a Purpose platform, and I just think that's amazing. And I think people have to realize that these pageants aren't just about beauty, but it's more so about service.
I think the biggest misconception when it comes to pageantry is, it's all about how you look.
Right.
The physical aspect. Specifically about Miss World, what I love the most is this aspect, like Rikia referenced to, the humanitarian aspect, because that's what they're looking for. They're looking for an individual who cares about community and using how they're going to use their influence and their essence to penetrate the community and make a positive difference.
Yes, and also the Mrs. World, they have the WIN, the WIN Foundation, which is Women in Need. So now pageantry is really evolving to be a more service-based and humanitarian-based initiative, and I think that's really awesome.
I think it's awesome. I think we need to really, give kudos to these young ladies.
And it's a lot of work.
And it requires a great level of courage and bravery and sacrifice, because you're training from morning until night sometimes.
Yep. So we do want to wish all these beauties the best and just have a great time. And thank you for representing us here on the world stage. So still ahead, Honorable De Castro represents the BVI at the UK Flagship Seminar, and BVICCHA and the government collaborate on a business forum that will be held today. Stick around for more 284 News.
Everyone looks to the future, but no one truly knows what the future holds. the number of people under the age of 20 with type 2 diabetes could increase by 49% by 2050. Let it be known that we all have a 30% chance of developing hypertension.
Globally, more than 300 million people of all ages suffer from depression.
More than 60,000 young adults aged 20 to 39 are diagnosed with cancer each year. Obesity leads to problems such as stroke, heart disease, and kidney failure.
No matter your race, age, or color, we are all at risk.
These diseases can be managed or prevented if caught early.
But with the right medicine and the right doctors to keep us on a path to live a robust and healthy life,
we will live well.
Welcome back, viewers. Honorable Sharie De Castro is representing the government of the Virgin Islands at the 2019 Westminster Seminar on Effective Parliaments in the United Kingdom. The seminar began on Monday, November 25th and will run through till Friday, November 29th. The annual seminar is in the United Kingdom. It is the UK Commonwealth Parliamentary Association Flagship Capacity Development Program, which takes an experience-based approach, drawing on the perspective of contributors and participants to encourage discussions. Honorable De Castro said, "I am happy to be a part of this cohort where the possibilities are there for gaining a deeper understanding of the components that make up effective parliament within the Westminster context. This seminar has provided the opportunity to widen networks and to create open communication lines, to work collaboratively with peers," Honorable De Castro added. CPA UK supports and strengthens parliamentary democracy through the Commonwealth. It focuses on key issues including women in parliament, modern slavery, financial oversight, security, and trade. Peer-to-peer learning is central to the way CPA UK works. CPA UK brings together UK and Commonwealth parliamentarians and officials to share knowledge and learn from each other. Its aim is to improve parliamentary oversight, scrutiny, and representation, and is located in the Palace of Westminster and funded by the UK Parliament. To me, this is a great initiative, and once again, we see our government officials going abroad and getting that training and just being a part of associations where they could be head-to-head with like-minded individuals.
Absolutely. The Honorable Natalia Whitley just returned from a 2-week trip to Paris where he was doing the same thing. And then there's Honorable Kai Rama, who's currently representing us in Australia.
Yes.
And these interactions, like you said, are very important when it comes to capacity building, meeting with the heads, discussing ideas that they can bring back and inject into the BVI economy is very important. So I'm very happy to see members of government networking in this way.
Agreed.
Viewers, moving right ahead, the Premier's office in collaboration with the BVICCHA today held a business forum at Maria's by the Sea. The objective of the event is to give the business sector an audience with the Premier and top public service management on current industry challenges and the strategic solutions that are recommended to ensure sustainable economic growth. So there were quite a number of industry presentations today on tourism, construction, yachting, ease of doing business, youth entrepreneurship, and others. And to tell us all about it is the new chairman of BVICCHA, Ms. Sharie Smith herself. Listening.
Today, the BVI Chamber of Commerce and Hotel Association collaborated with the Premier's office in hosting what has been named Business Solutions Forum. What we did today was we had industry stakeholders come together with the public service leadership and to discuss what the challenges are that are facing businesses as a whole, as well as what are the solutions in terms of how we make for a more business-friendly environment. We had presentations so far on the ease of doing business by Mr. Michael Thomas, yachting industry by Ms. Janet Oliver of the Charter Yacht Society. The hospitality industry was presented on by Mr. Clyde Ledsome of Oil Nut Bay. And coming up next, we have the Environment and Development by Ms. Sarah Penny from Green VI, Youth Entrepreneurship from Mr. Akeem Leonard of Green Creek BI, and Construction Industry by Mr. Marvin Flax of OBMI. And after each presentations, we've been having some very good stimulating discussions talking about, what are the challenges and in terms of the recommendations or solutions that are being proposed, how feasible they are. Some of these things are going to have to go forward for further discussion. And our hope is that this is the first of regular business forums that are held with the government so that we can all come together as one unit, as so to speak, to ensure that we have a sustainable, resilient, and diverse economy for not just the present, but going forward into the future.
Quite an update there from Ms. Smith. Now, the BVICCHA team on October 7th initially met with the Premier on the importance of a national development strategy, tourism master plan, workforce development, and immediate concerns of businesses across the economy. This forum today is a product of that interaction, and like the chairman hopes, the first of many to come as we continue to curate an effective business structure for the British Virgin Islands. Now, Kyla, I know for a number of years we've complained about a disconnect in the relations between the private and the public sector. And so forums like these, interactions like these really encourage us bridging the gap, especially at this juncture where we're trying to re-strategize and come up with new ways of building and strengthening the economy.
Yes, and we also saw that a few weeks ago when our deputy governor was doing they were actually doing a plan with the BVICCHA. So we're seeing that in many different sectors. So that's pretty awesome.
I really like this. Viewers, is still ahead. Death at a Caribbean resort attracts international attention, and persons in Guyana are advocating for local businesses to get a tax break amidst outside competition from oil discovery. These and more when 284 News returns. When you need to stay connected with friends and families at home or abroad, the best choice for you is Freedom. CCT Freedom. With the lowest rates in the market, our Freedom plan gives you unlimited calls and texting. Plus, our Freedom One package includes 10 gigabits of super fast, unlimited LTE data and unlimited calls to the BVI, USA, USVI, Canada, Puerto Rico, and UK lines. Why pay for overages when you can enjoy CCT Freedom? Stop by at one of our stores today and speak with one of our representatives to find out more about our CCT Freedom packages. Viewers, welcome back to 284 News. Ghanaian businessman Mr. Kwame Gentua is the most recent person to join calls for local companies in Guyana to be given first consideration for duty-free waivers, which will help them to be more competitive with foreign businesses operating in the local market. Gentua, the CEO of Africa Energy Consortium, recently made a presentation on local content policies at the Ghana International Petroleum Business Summit and Exhibition GPEX 2019 held at the Marriott Hotel last week. Sharing his views on the local content, Gentua noted that the oil and gas industry is big enough to take care of everyone if local content is practiced in favor of the people and there is trust, transparency, and accountability. Above all, he stressed the long-term national development plan must help increase the country's revenue equitably. The businessman added there should be a deliberate action where local companies should be given first consideration of refusal duty waivers to help build their capacity. His appeal comes months after Commissioner General of the Ghana Revenue Authority, GRA, Godfrey Stacia, made a request for local companies to be given a fair opportunity to compete alongside foreign enterprises for contracts to supply goods to the oil sector. The Commissioner General revealed that locals will be given tax breaks on those supplies being imported for the industry. That decision came on the heels of an article that was published in Kaieteur News that highlighted the fact that subcontractors for ExxonMobil, which is one of the prime oil companies currently dredging for oil in Guyana, subcontractors for ExxonMobil as well as its affiliate companies, they would have been enjoying tax breaks for their imports. With that in mind, the Commissioner General said he supports calls that Guyanese should enjoy this privilege as well. The tax chief noted, however, that he is not going to sit around and wait for a policy or a piece of legislation to level the playing field. He said, quote, "We are not waiting for a policy. We are trying to do what we can. We are being proactive," the commissioner added. Stacia said that the only problem he has is perhaps the fear of dual-purpose suppliers, meaning those firms which divert tax-free goods that are meant for the oil sector to other market streams. He said, so if you have to devise a way to show that you are important just for Exxon, there are some firms, you know, from supplies that it is strictly for Exxon's operation, so that is easy. They're bringing in specialized equipment and machinery, pipes, etc. for this sector. But local companies have to be truthful, because if they are caught, the tax break would be removed, the commissioner said. Now, in 2017, it was confirmed that the seafloor beneath Guyana's coastal waters contains one of the richest oil and natural gas discoveries in decades. Experts have now estimated that one of the offshore fields alone, known as Lisa, could contain 1.4 billion barrels of oils mixed with natural gas, comparable to some of the larger fields drilled in South America. Now, with this oil discovery, Guyana is now poised to become a top producer and predicted to see the world's biggest economic transformation for 2020. Now, Kyla, I really enjoyed featuring this story simply because, I mean, when you think about local empowerment, especially via business opportunities, we always hear the chant, tax breaks, tax waivers for local entrepreneurs, which is very empowering, and especially in a transitioning economy like Guyana, where you're going from what it is right now to the GDP being multiplied by 200% by 2020. I mean, that's a big deal. So you want to ensure that mechanisms are in place for local economies, for local, business owners, and Guyanese in general to benefit from that. But I see this type of strategy as a good one to be adopted across the board. You wanted to ensure, I think, like Honorable Vincent Wheatley, he rightfully says, the only way to strengthen your economy is to empower your people. And so I think this is definitely a page we would want to adopt here in the BVI as well.
Definitely. According to reports from the New York Times, in the month of April, inside of a suite at a tropical resort in Anguilla, 2 men fought, only one left alive. An investment banker, a dead hotel worker, a lethal dose of cocaine. The case has put the U.S. and Anguilla at odds. On April 13th, Mr. Scott Hapgood, 45, was visiting the resort with his wife and their 3 kids. When he answered a knock on the door, Mr. Kenny Mitchell, 27, a uniformed hotel employee, said he had to come and fix a sink. Mr. Hapgood said none of the 6 sinks seem in need of repairing, but he invited him in anyways. The 2 men began to fight, and Mr. Hapgood pinned the deceased to the floor. Mr. Mitchell lost consciousness and was later pronounced dead. Hapgood, who said he was defending himself against a robbery attempt, was charged with manslaughter. The revelation in September that a lethal amount of cocaine was found in the bloodstream of Mitchell has not slowed the criminal proceedings against Mr. Hapgood. But what begun as one-on-one encounter has since ballooned into an international dispute over whether the survivor, Hapgood, an international American banker, should have been charged with manslaughter. Officials, lawyers, and lawmakers in the United States find themselves squaring off with not only against the authorities in Anguilla, but potentially also against Britain, of which it is a territory. While the case outcome is far from predictable, the present standoff could lead to an extradition proceeding against the American charged in the case. United States senators on both sides of the aisle and President Trump himself have criticized the prosecution of Mr. Hapgood. The former member of parliament in Anguilla, Haddon Hughes, seemed to speak for many of the islanders in a recent video on Facebook. We still want him to return to face the court and to prove that our system is far more fair than even the homeland he comes from, Mr. Hughes said. And we are objective, peaceful people. An international arrest warrant has been filed for Scott Hapgood, who is charged in the death of the hotel worker in Anguilla. Hapgood was a no-show at a scheduled court hearing, and the British Caribbean Territory Attorney General said he is now considered a fugitive.
This is a big story. I remember when this happened, and it really sparked international controversy. But my issues with issues like these, I don't know if it would have been dealt with if it was the other way around.
Definitely.
If a black man was killed by, if a white man was killed by a black man
but also too, a black Caribbean man.
Right.
Killed an American white man.
Right. So you see the different spectrums, and I think that, as much as we hate to admit it, plays a significant and a defining role in cases like these, because that is ultimately what it boils down to.
Yes.
And so now he has to face the charges. It doesn't matter if you're American. It doesn't matter. It really does not matter. An innocent man was found dead, and while the investigations
somebody
are
has
continuous,
to answer to it.
Absolutely. And he, in this case, seems to be the culprit. So he now has to face those charges.
Yes, and Anguilla, rightfully so, I'm not backing down against the giant America, because they themselves have to make sure that they are fair and just in this proceedings.
Right. Let's see how that goes. Viewers, that is it for today's News Roundup. Be sure to like us on Facebook at 284 Media, as well as 284 BVI, on Instagram as well as Twitter. I'm Javon Wilson.
And I'm Kyla Kenesha Forbes. We'll see you tomorrow again as we deliver your daily dose of local, regional, and international content. 284 News, your source for honest and impartial news. Happy Tuesday, everybody, and have a good afternoon.
So you're saying I can ask this cat any question?
The cat is connected to the computer. You just type in the question, it will read his mind. There the answer comes.
You're the man! I've been looking for this for weeks.
Brilliant Hands and Minds tutoring services, one-on-one tutorials in math and English, intense homework assistance, academic enrichment, school projects, effective communication and public speaking development, sign language for adults and children on Saturdays only. Registered with the Virgin Islands High School Certificate Program, Brilliant Hands and Minds can help you too. Offering intense curriculum-based training to help you or your loved ones get their high school diploma. It's time to make your family's education a #1 priority. Hurry, space is limited. Brilliant Hands and Minds Learning Center. We are the trained education professionals.